Hello, my name is Kayla Moore, and today we are going to discuss student engagement and motivation in this professional development. Student motivation. What is motivation? Psychologists define motivation as an internal process that activates, guides, and maintains behavior over time. Our job is not to really increase students' motivation, but to discover it, sustain it, and then build upon it. Motivation has three main goals. It gets you going, it keeps you going, and it determines where you are going to go. Now we will look at motivation theories that help enhance student performance. I find that the first one is probably the most important one for us to look at. I'll tell you why in just a minute. That is Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory. This theory tells us that their basic needs of the students must be met in order for them to engage in learning. Like safety, self-esteem, and love, those are three of the huge basic needs that must be fulfilled if we expect our students to be motivated to learn, as well as taking care of any hunger that they might have. Just think, if you're hungry, can you really focus? The second one would be Vygotsky's social cultural theory of development. This theory will help to boost students' performance by putting them in the driver's seat of their learning. It challenges students by making tasks that are just out of their reach or their zone of proximal development, but motivates them to learn more with the help of a MKO or a more knowledgeable other. It provides guided help to give those boosts of confidence that students need. They can also learn through discovery, play, and hands-on activity, which allows them to feel more excited about their learning. I want to talk a little bit more about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how that this is truly something as teachers that we need to take to heart. We often think of data. We often think of what they're learning and what they're building with their knowledge. But if we haven't looked at them feeling safe, if we haven't looked at who they are and what they need as a person, then we can't expect them to be prepared to learn. Just like I said, if you're hungry, can you focus? If you don't feel loved, are you going to do your best? If you don't feel safe, are you going to open up? And my wonderful professor, Dr. Sanchez at Grand Canyon University, told me that all children must Maslow before they can bloom. And I will never forget that. I need to make sure that it is a priority that every student that steps into my room knows that they are loved, cared for, and if they're hungry, they have somewhere that they can come and get a snack and to feel better. And I pray that we all can do those things for our students. Next, we will look at intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. I really love this this picture that I have here. It really helps to show the differences in these and give you a visual aid if you are a visual learner like me. Intrinsic motivation, what is it? It's the internal drive to perform a task or activity for oneself for personal joy or curiosity. The activity itself is fulfilling to that student. An example may be a child reads a book because they love the topic, and they read extra because they get to read about a topic that they truly love. Extrinsic motivation. What is that? It is a drive. It's a drive the students have to perform a task or activity to earn an external reward. Okay. So an example could be given a reward for good behavior and finishing their work in a timely manner. It could be a snack. We all love snacks, extra recess, or a simple brain break. My kids at school that I teach now love some Danny Go. So throw on a Danny Go for and a little incentive to keep them going. It is important to remember that students can have negative consequences to both of these types of motivation, and we need to understand how to pivot and change that behavior and get them excited about learning, whether it be changing the topic that they can read more about and engage in, or engage in a reward that they would enjoy. Also remember that extrinsic rewards can change their intrinsic motivation and lead them to love certain activities and subjects more. The relationship between motivation and engagement. Interdependence, which means relying on each other. Motivation acts as the internal why, or the engine, while engagement is the visible action, the wheels, that gets the student moving toward their goals. Students can have their engines running all they want, but if their wheels are not spinning, they won't go anywhere. They both must work together, and in doing so, they can rely on each other to motivate one another. Like, hey, buddy, I can see your brain going, but them wheels ain't turning. Let's get together and work together to get this done. And then the loop of support. High motivation. Students want to do the work. Active engagement. Students join into learning with their hands, hearts, and minds. Student success. Their good work lets them see that they can learn new things and do it well, which in turn builds confidence. You are a confidence builder as a teacher. You are the one that gets to set the tone in your classroom. I hope that you use it to build that love of learning. Giving students the space to work while giving themselves the motivation within changes how they see themselves and how they contribute to their own learning, as well as the learning of others. I love these things with the kids over there showing each other, hey, look what I did, or the ones down there that are so excited. I just love to see the spark of learning. Dr. Sanchez, my professor at GCU, gave me this little nugget of wisdom. Maintaining high expectations for your students means keeping the bar high. Remember, students will only rise as high as you set the bar. If you set it low, that is as high as they will likely go. You set the bar high, and they will strive to reach it. I tell my students to always aim for the moon, because even if they miss it, they will still land among the stars. What an amazing thing. Factors affecting motivation and engagement. Contextual factors. These are the students' characteristics, the classroom and the school environment, and the community and economic background around them. Examples of that is the layout of your classroom. Is it safe, inviting, functional? Students, do you have ELL students, English Learning Language students? If so, they will need visual aids and possibly a translating aid on a tablet, as well as a buddy in the classroom that can help them with small tasks. Examples. Is your school a Title I school? This can affect the supplies that are given and the economic background of the students that you are teaching, which in turn can change how you approach your students by making sure that their basic needs are truly met. Self-efficacy. A teacher and a student's belief in their ability to succeed or the lack thereof. That is what self-efficacy is. One example is one student may see a math problem and think, oh, I can do this, while another one tells themselves, I'm dumb, I'll never be able to complete this problem, and gives up right away. One fully believes in themselves and one fully believes that they can't. Here's a teacher example. A teacher with a tough class thinks, I can find a way to reach these students. I just have to get to know them and know what makes them tick. Figure out what maybe Maslow hierarchy of needs, maybe what they're missing in order to help them behave better. They might just be missing that simple love. So this teacher is going to try to find everything that she can to, or he can, to make sure that they know what makes them tick. Okay. While another teacher with the same kind of class gives up hope and assumes it is them and not their teaching, and there's nothing more that they can do for them. Dr. Sanchez has told me on numerous occasions, do not compare yourself to other teachers, yet compare yourself to you. And if you need to improve, then look within and make the changes. Even if it's just 1% better than it was before, that is a move in the right direction. If you do have a challenging class, just look within, see what you can do, see what you can find to help them. Look at those contextual factors. Look at their needs. Look at them as a person and see what you can find to help them grow and motivate them and then get them to engage in your class. Instructional strategies. Autonomy. This is huge. Freedom of choice. Some kids don't always learn the same as others. Allowing students to choose how they can show mastery of a lesson will help them to feel confident in their abilities. Not every child learns the same, like I just said, and can perform the same when given tests. I know I get very bad testing anxiety, and so does one of my children. Sometimes the length of the test, or if I could just show it in a different way, I can do better and get my thoughts out there rather than, an ABC, quiz or something like that. So give kids freedom of choice when you have the opportunity. Scaffolding, which is guided help. And this was in Vygotsky's theory, okay? This can boost students' confidence by giving them the ability to work through things on their own with the guidance of either the teacher or fellow peers in a small group setting. This picture to the right, or to the left, I'm sorry, shows kind of what scaffolding can be like. The one girl's like, I don't know. The boy's like, maybe. And the other girl's like, I think we can figure this out. So scaffolding is where they're just working together to figure out something that may be a little out of reach for a couple of them, but one of them definitely can help them get there. Collaborative learning. Another one kind of goes along with the rest of these. When students can learn together and explore together, they can achieve more and become more confident. They may feel more at ease to talk and share their ideas because they are with peers and not discussing it with a teacher. This also supports scaffolding and helps them have the freedom of choice to a certain extent. Groups can decide, hey, we should do this way. Or, you as a teacher can, set it up to where, this group of students loves to create pictures or, loves to be the people that learn things. You can set those groups up to where it, encompasses their love of learning. And also you can scaffold it to where those groups can be helpful to one another. And again, gives them that freedom of choice. Impact of effective teachers. A teacher who is passionate, caring, loving, trustworthy, and puts his or her students' basic needs first is a teacher who can be effective. If we do not see the need of security and love in our classrooms, then we have done a disservice to our students. A small gesture can trigger a snowball effect of good for our students and set them on the path for success, which should be what we all want. We need to teach with conviction and enthusiasm, even on the hard days, because if we cannot motivate ourselves, how can we motivate others and our students? An example of that would be motivating students can be as simple as aligning standards with books that they love that will engage and capture their attention. Another example is getting students engaged in classroom activities can be as easy as setting up a classroom story that helps drive home the idea of adding and subtracting while making it fun and teaching them life lessons about budgeting. This gives them hands-on activities where they can go around the classroom and buy different things and add and subtract and figure out how much money they would have left and let them really see a life lesson that they are going to do a lot and that some may already do when they go to the grocery store with their parents. I am thankful that the Lord has called me into this profession, and I pray that we never forget what our calling is. When we lose sight of that, we can easily be discouraged and overwhelmed. But when we see their soul, when we see their needs, their abilities, we can help them reach new heights. Let's help them learn, grow, and succeed. And always remember, all kids need is a little help, a little hope, and somebody who believes in them. And a teacher's greatest gift is believing in a student until the student believes in themselves. I pray you all have a blessed day.